All right. Hello, Hounds. Welcome to session number 29 of ShearJoy with Amy Leigh and the Hounds. I'm Amy Leigh, and you are my Hounds, and I'm so glad that you're here today. Sorry, a little better. Okay. All right. This is a great lesson, and it's actually going to take our last lesson, which was session 28. What a great PDF that was for you guys. So I hope you've all downloaded it. If you haven't, all the PDFs are posted on the community tab, guys. I post it every now and then. So you might have to scroll down through the post to find the one. And it's just set to members only. So only you guys can see it. But it'll be an announcement. It actually looks like this. Let me show you. We'll do a screen share. There. Sorry. Gotta fumble around like always, don't I? All right. So this is what the post looks like. It's this image at the top. Okay. So when you see a post on my community tab that looks like that says download lesson PDFs and it's in red, that post will have the link for all of the ShearJoy with Amy Leigh and the Hounds PDFs, all of them. It'll be a link for every single one. So that's helpful. So I just want to remind you guys of that before we get started, because sometimes people forget to download these PDFs, and I'm telling you that they really bring it all together. You have to have them. You're building your own notebook, and I'm happy to make these for you. And I'm happy to try to think of ways to simplify pet grooming for you. And that's what I do with these PDFs. So in today's lesson, like I said, we're building upon last week's. This is the front page of last week's PDF. In case you're not sure which one it is. Like I said, if you haven't downloaded it, you can download it. I'll post this stuff after we're done on the community tab, including today's PDF. In fact, I probably could, before we end this meeting, I could probably throw a link to those who are present here. I could throw a link in the chat for you to go ahead and download it before you have to wait for the community tab. Maybe we'll try that too. So I just want to refresh real quickly. I know we had lesson 28. We don't need to go deep on that because we still have that video up if anybody needs to go watch it. It was a great video and lesson, and the PDF is wonderful. But what it did is it broke down any pet trim, not just, a pet trim for a mixed breed. It broke down any pet trim into 3 categories, and how I suggest that you guys flow through your workflow when you're grooming a dog. And that was that we set the length with the clipper on the body and the legs first, because that kind of predetermines and gives us an idea of what length we want for the head, which is the next step, to set the length on the head. And typically I would suggest you guys use guard combs wherever you can to set length. Pick the guard comb length that works for your trim, because it's going to set an even length for you that then you only have minimal scissor work to perform. Guard combs are great for beginners, and they're great for pet groomers because we need to save time. So anything we can do to save time for us and the dogs is helpful. So in last month's lesson, the second thing we do is set the length on the head. And the last thing we do is tie the feet into the trim. And there's a reason why we do it in this order. Now, today's lesson is going to go deeper, and I have a really great tableside cheat sheet for you guys that I created that you can print out. So today's lesson is building upon lesson 28. And I did link lesson 28 in your PDF. If as a quick reference, if you're like, you know what, I need to freshen up on that lesson. And it would be great for you to do that in your downtime in the next few days or today, later, to go back and watch lesson 28, because this one builds off of it. So what this lesson does is it's kind of the same format, right? Body and legs first, head, then feet, because that is ideal for getting a balanced trim. So this is the front cover of your PDF for today. Now, what I mean, let me show you. This is your flow chart that I created for you guys that you can print out. This will be the second page of your PDF. This is something that you can keep tableside that's going to help you stay on track through the groom. And you know, it's funny because I have different methods of teaching. Like I have my 11 steps to groom any dog. I have other PDFs that, you know, people would have to purchase, or some of them I actually give away to you guys as my members, but I will allow non-members to purchase them, like my complete dog grooming guide. But everything that I teach you guys is based off of the 11 steps to groom any dog. It's very important to follow specific order of grooming every time when you're grooming. If you're grooming a dog such as a golden retriever that wouldn't require a haircut, you skip the steps that don't apply to that dog, but you still follow those 11 steps. You just would skip down to obviously not the clipper work for a golden would only require trimming the padded feet, maybe a little venting at the ears. That's it. So I always want you guys to follow those 11 steps. I'm sure you have them. If you don't, it is a free download. So in my videos, you'll see my link to my Podia website, which hosts all my learning digital products as well as my course. So if you go to if you follow the link to my Podia website, you'll see all the free and purchasable PDFs that I've made. And that 11 steps, there's a free version of that there. It's not as extensive as the way I incorporated it into that PDF that's for sale. That is the complete guide to a grooming a dog. That one's, I think, $9.99. So I did incorporate the 11 steps in that, but it also breaks grooming down into categories. But so we know we're following 11 steps. Hey, come back. We know we're following 11 steps, those 11 steps. That's my kind of holy grail. But I've also been teaching you guys to break down pet grooming into many categories. You know, we did our categories of assessing and doing coat prep and then a trim. We've done this so many times, but it's important to break it into categories so that you guys don't get overwhelmed. As a beginner, I can totally relate to being overwhelmed. You know, there were so many things to remember within one single grooming session. So I always taught myself to separate things and focus on this category. And then we moved to that category. And that's what helped me. And that's how I teach you guys. And I think it's working for you too. So in today's lesson, how we're building upon session 28. We already know session 28 taught us how to choose guard combs and blades and still had us working in a format of breaking it into 3 categories: body, legs, head, and feet. But now with this lesson, I want you to print these out. You can take them to an office store and have this laminated. So if it gets, you know, wet or anything, it's not a big deal if you want to hang it on your wall or just have it sitting beside you when you groom. I really hope that you do print it out and have it laminated. And having something laminated at Office Max or Staples is so darn cheap. So don't let it stop you. It's so worth it. So what we're doing here today is following the same ideology as session 28. But now I'm breaking it apart from clipper work to scissor work. And that also follows my 11 steps to groom any dogs. We perform all clipper work first, remember? So what I want you to do is break the clipper work into the 3 categories that we touched on in session 28. So in other words, we're going to do all the body and leg clipper work. Then we're going to move on to the head and perform all the clipper work necessary for the head. Don't pick up the scissors yet. Then we're going to move in to the feet and perform any clipper work that may be necessary for the feet. Now, I'm not even talking about pads of feet yet. For the feet, I would be talking about a poodle clean feet, you know, how we shave the feet on a poodle. That would be done in step 3 at the top here of clipper work. Once we've done that, once we've set the clipper work on the body and the legs, then the head, then the feet, we haven't touched a shear yet. Don't touch those shears yet. Now we're going to do a sanitary trim. I consider that clipper work. So the reason I had to separate that is because we want to use a number 10 blade for our sanitary trimming. Well, we're probably using a guard comb for the body and the legs. We're probably using a guard comb for the head and the feet, or maybe a different blade for the feet, you know. So now we're going to either go for that 5-in-1 clipper, if you use one, for the sanitary trimming, but obviously you can do it all with your standard A5 style clipper, which would be an Andis AGC, a Wall KM10, or whatever detachable blade clipper you have. Perform all the sanitary work with a 10 blade. Especially for beginners, I suggest to even do the 10 blade with the pads of feet, but never use any blade other than a 10 blade, especially in the private areas. You can seriously cause clipper irritation with a dog if you use a 15 or a 30. As a beginner, we tend to put a little more pressure on a blade than we're aware of. So that's why a 10 blade, and that's the way I was taught. And to this day, I always use a 10 blade in the private areas of a dog. But I will switch to a 30 blade for the pads of feet. If you're a beginner, you may want to avoid that and stick with the 10 blade, because a 30 blade can cause sensitivity in the pads of feet. So as we look at this chart, we know we've done the clipper work for the body, head, and feet. Now we've performed the sanitary trimming, right? So we're following a flow chart. The next step in our groom is the scissor finish work. So what do? We put the clippers aside, we're done with them. This is designed to keep you from going back and forth from scissor to clipper. Oh, I'm stuck on this leg, this one leg, I'm clipping it. Oh, now I'm gonna scissor it. Now, I just spent 20 minutes on one leg. What am I doing? This is a workflow, guys. This is to keep you moving and not get distracted. What we do as humans is we get distracted. We say, okay, I'm clipping. Now, oh, I don't like the way this leg is looking. Don't worry, we're going to scissor it in a little bit. You don't have to do it right now because you're going to overthink it. I want you to do all the clipper work first, just like my 11 steps to groom any dog. And then we move to scissor work. Put those clippers down. Now we're doing scissor work. So with the scissor work, we follow the same format. And this coincides with our last lesson: body, legs, head, and feet. Now we're breaking it down into clipper work for body, legs, head, and feet, and scissor work for body, legs, head, and feet. And that's the last thing you do. The scissor, oh, come on. This computer thinks it's so smart. The last thing we do is the scissor work. So we're going to focus first on all the scissor work required for the body and the legs. Don't look at the head yet. Don't look at the feet yet. Focus. We're doing body and legs first. And when I do scissor work for a dog, I like to work my way around a dog. So if I start with the front of the dog, so our scissor work is combing up and scissoring a nice outline shape that our guard comb may have left some imperfections, meaning it's a little uneven, right? That's typical for guard comb work. We have to go back and tidy it up with the scissors. And we're just tidying up the outline, the shape. So by starting in the front, you're going to then finish your scissor work on both the front legs. Now when you move around to the back, you're going to kind of use your front legs as your guide for the front legs are your guide for the back legs. So if we're like, I got to make all these legs match, right? Yes, we're moving around the dog. We've done the first we did say the left front leg, and then we look at, as we're scissoring the right front leg, we're looking at the left front leg and using it as our guide. We want to match that one. When we get around to the right back leg, we're looking at the front leg. Well, we want this leg, the coat width, to align with our front legs. And then we complete the back leg and we go to the left back leg. Well, what's our guide for the left back leg? Our right back leg. Because we're setting them one at a time and we're going to make the match. So splitting it down like this, guys, is great. First, we're focusing on body and legs. We're going to complete that. You may be looking at the head and saying, I see exactly what I got to do. And fine. Wait till you get there. You're not there. We're still on body and legs. This helps you focus, guys. It really does. It helps you stay on track. Now we're happy with our scissor work on the body and the legs. Now we can move on to the head. And we know that setting the length on the head with our guard combs was important to wait until we've done the body and the legs so that we create a balanced look for our dog. If we used our rule of thumb in our last lesson was to go 2 or 3 guard combs length higher to set the length on the head than we did on the body. That's going to create a balanced look. It's automatically going to set you up. So we've already determined that. Now we've already done the clipper work. The only thing left to do is to just hone our shape using your comb with everything you're going to scissor. Comb it up and out first. A lot of people don't use their comb enough. When I'm scissoring anything, when I'm completing the scissor finish work on any dog, I am combing every little area first, up and out, before I start scissoring. Otherwise, the coat's hanging in there in itself, and as soon as the dog shakes his head, all this hair is going to pop out because the coat was relaxed. You want to unrelax it with your comb so you can see exactly that you're putting a precise trim on the dog. So the head scissor work is next. Once we complete that, we're already setting ourselves up for success to balance the head trim with the body and the leg work that we've already completed. So the last thing to do, and again, when you're working on the head, don't look at the feet. We're not there yet. I want you to focus on one step at a time so that you don't get distracted. When we get distracted or we start, going all over the place, squirrel, squirrel, oh, look at the feet, all this hair sticking out everywhere in the feet. Oh, I didn't finish I don't like the way that back leg looks. Don't worry, you've already moved past it. You can go back in this order. You've already moved past the body and the leg work. We're on the head right now. Focus on that. After you've completed the scissor work on the head, you're tying it together with the feet, which really ties your trim together by rounding the feet, tidying up the feet. And we talked about that more specifically in our last lesson, so you can watch session 28. But the feet, just tidy it up and polish the trim and save them for last, because you are scissoring the foot into the leg. You want to make sure we've done the leg work first, which was our first step of scissor work with the body and the legs. So there again, when you're working on the body and leg, do not look at the feet yet. Don't even think about the feet. We're going to get there. And by following this, guys, you're really going to have a great workflow. It's going to help you stay on track. It's going to help you not become frustrated. And after you complete the scissor work for body, legs, head, and feet, now you can look at the dog, comb it all up again. Comb it all up and say, I still have some fine tuning to do. Then go back to the body and the legs. Let's fine tune the body and the legs. Don't just go all over the place. Stay in these categories because it's going to help you remain focused on what task you're doing at that moment, which is a huge challenge for beginners, including myself as a beginner. It was a huge challenge for me not to jump all over the place in my groom. And usually what I would end up doing is whittling away too long at one leg with the scissor work, and I botched the trim. Keep moving in this workflow right here that I'm giving you guys. And it is going to be linked and on the post as soon as we're done with our meeting here today. Once this recording saves and I can upload it to YouTube, you're going to have obviously your invitation for next month's learning session, but you're also going to have a link to your PDF here today. So this will be the third page of your PDF is your invitation and your PDF link. But today's lesson really hyper focuses on separating your clipper work into body, legs, head, and feet, those categories, and then performing your sanitary trimming, and then performing your scissor work. Body, legs first, head, then feet. And if you follow this format, you're just building good habits, good grooming habits that eventually are just what you do. It's just what you do. You don't have to tell yourself, you can take Amy's chart and throw it away and say, I don't need it anymore. It's in my head now. And it'll get there. But that's only if you groom regularly. If a lot of you I know are grooming your own dogs, you don't groom as often as even a beginner groomer learning to groom. They're grooming a lot of dogs. So it may take you longer to ditch this cheat sheet because you're only grooming once every 6 weeks. You're gonna need it for a long time. That's okay. That's what it's for. And you may never ditch it. Keep it as a reminder. Keep it as a reminder on your wall beside your grooms or whatever you do of how far you've come with grooming because you follow formats like this. That's how you become a very good groomer. That's how you stay focused and you build your confidence and your skills. So you're going to have this cheat sheet today, and I think it's awesome. I'm so glad that you're going to have it. And I'm going to stop the screen share here. I'm going to see if I can throw a link in here. Does everybody see the chat? Let me pull mine up here. I'm pretty sure I can share a link. So let me go out here to where that PDF resides. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to throw the link in there for you guys can have a little early download privilege there. Because you're my hounds. You deserve all the privileges. All right, we want session 29. There it is. So I'm going to grab the link. Copy the link. And we're going to go back in here to the chat. And I believe I can share it in here. Okay, I think it's going to work. Yeah, if you click on it, it should work. You're welcome, Chris. Yeah. Oh, Writer says I get distracted daily. Well, we all do. In fact, pet groomers, people that enjoy pet grooming tend to be easily distracted people. I think we're just such perfectionists. We have to understand everything that's going on around us at all times. So it's normal. We're our own special breed. So now, hopefully, this ties everything. This really brings in the last lesson really good for you guys. You know, learning how to choose your guard combs for the body, legs, and the head. That was session 28. And now having a little workflow format to follow and to keep you focused on the body and the legs, then the head trim, then the feet, instead of looking at the overall groom and being overwhelmed. You're going to break it into categories so that you stay on track and you don't become overwhelmed. And you probably will have a much more successful grooming session. That's the whole idea. Thanks, Cassandra. Now I want to talk to you guys. I want to answer specific questions from you guys. Any questions? They're all welcome. You know that. And you know not to be shy here because this is why we get together. So you have me in front of you and let's talk about anything that, whether it's tools, methods, struggles. Do you need to be talked down off the ledge on any aspect of pet grooming? Because you're frustrated with it, and I can probably help you sort out what those frustrations are coming from and how to move forward. So let's have it. Just unmute your mic and let's get chatting. Let's chit chat. Oh, you're gonna be shy. Oh my gosh. I've never met a hound dog that was shy. So come on, you're my hounds. um, Gus is in here with me. I know a lot of you may
Hi,
have
Amy.
he was sick. He's feeling a little better. He has acid reflux. Chris, is that you?
Yes.
What would
Horse
you
Gal
like?
on YouTube. I have a new dog.
Oh, can I put it on screen so I can see it up close?
Yeah,
Let's see here. Oh, hi, sweetheart. Who is this?
this is Bean.
Hey, Bean. I like that name. Hi, Bean. Oh, you are precious. You look like you are a Cavalier.
He does look like a Cavalier, except for he doesn't have the brown nose and it's not quite, it's a little pointier. So I have a DNA test pending on him. And
So,
so
do they think he's a mix?
I don't know yet. I think he's a mix just because
Oh,
normally the black and tan have a brown snout, right? So I'm trying to figure
yeah.
out how to groom him. That is kind of a mix of their standard groom and I don't want the fuzzy feet because farm.
Hmm.
We live on a farm.
Sure, and it
And
helps him to gain traction when we clean out those paw pads, when he's zipping
well,
around,
I've
even
cleaned out
on
the
hard surface floors and stuff.
right, but you know how they live the fringe, the gridge feet?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that. He's got to have, I've got to clean it up, but he's
Okay.
only had one groom with me, and I'm not. I have Huskies generally. Um,
Uh-huh.
case in point,
Oh,
there's
hi, sweetie. Oh,
that's Kiki. Hi, Kiki.
hi.
Say hi,
Oh, Kiki.
Kiki. She
I do. I
winks.
love Huskies. You're one of my favorite breeds. You guys are so smart, Kiki. Too
Yes,
smart
she's
for the
so
grooming
smart.
salon. Ooh,
Oh man. Oh, they're my poor Huskies are completely terrified. And I
it's not their
started her
favorite
young,
thing.
but not like they wouldn't. Oh my gosh! After they went to the groomer, I groomed her. I've had her since she was a puppy,
Oh,
so I took her to the grooming salon when she was 16 weeks old because it's the earliest they
sure.
take her in. But she came back terrified of brushing,
Yeah, she
and
had to become used to it before she was thrown in. Grooming a husky is an extensive groom, and it's mainly brushing in the tub, drying, brushing on the table. So maybe she wasn't 100% desensitized to the brushing process, and she has to ease into that. But maybe she has sensitive skin. See, we don't always know that. They can't tell us. And maybe, a sucker brush or a method that they were using didn't feel good to her.
yeah, I'm thinking it's the slicker brush
But you have
because
to use a
I don't
slicker
know
brush.
they how hard you have to, but I
Right.
think they did it really harsh at first
It
when she was
it
just
could
a
have
little
been the
puppy.
technique. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they did though, because
Yeah.
of course, I'm not there, but they're terrified at the table. I got a table that's right here.
Oh, awesome. Great. Good
So
for
I've been
you.
slowly working on them
Good
with the
job.
table, and every day I put them on the table if just to get a treat. So
Good.
I'm
We
working
call
on
that
them.
table time, right? Remember? Table
Right,
time?
right,
Yes, we're teaching them
right.
a safe
So
place.
sometimes I brush them on the table, and sometimes I just give them a treat and
Yeah.
let them get off. It depends on my time and how nervous they are because
Sure, but
they
that's good
got
that you're
really
doing
good.
that, Chris. You're being consistent. You're teaching them that it's a safe place. You're doing it right. You're really going about it right. How long have you had Bean?
I've had Bean for about 2 months,
Okay.
and I had to wait a while to do his first groom because he had his castration surgery and the cherry eye surgery. But
Oh,
he,
did
as
you
soon as I
email
got him, I
me?
brushed him every day. Yes, I did
Now I
with
remember
pictures
you
of
when you said
him.
You said cherry eye. I remember you now. I remember reading about Bean and reading about your situation. So I heard you say earlier you like the real nice tidy foot, so it's cleaner instead of a lot
Yeah,
of
because of
fluff on
mud.
top.
It's mud season. So
Yeah,
and the Huskies too, when I took them to the groomer, they didn't, they didn't have to do their nails, but I asked them for the sanding trim, which I thought everyone understood. You shave the paws.
yeah.
And both of them are pretty good with their paws, but they didn't even bother to shave their paws, and they had zero time to talk to me after, all of
Oh,
them. And I tried
well,
3 different groomers.
sounds like
So
they were booking in too heavy. You got to spend the time with each dog and just charge what you need. I mean, I
I was
always
willing
shave
to
the
pay
pads of
whatever.
feet. I shave the pads of feet on Huskies unless a customer asks me not to. And sometimes they do want all natural. And I respect that. Don't clip
Yeah,
anything. And the only thing I would clip on a Husky is the pads of feet. But the only reason I do it is to give them better traction. And it helps
right. And to
keep them
snowballs
cleaner.
and mud
Yes,
get in there.
cleaner.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I that was one of the only things I really, I mean, not the only thing because I have a bad back
Obviously the
and
de-shedding.
stuff. Yeah, the de-shedding, and I
Right.
also got a forced dryer, so I'm slowly desensitizing them to that,
Good.
uh, a little at a time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have to do it myself. There's just no groomer. I mean, there might be one now, but I'm too hesitant to try a new one now.
Yeah.
There's a new groomer in town it sounds like they're really good and caring and a little bit more um I don't know,
What you
interested
expect.
in yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
that's why I asked about I've been marathoning your videos. I don't want to take up all your time, but I've been marathoning your videos, and that I commented about um like the pre-screening for clients. It's like, there's a big new groomer in town, and maybe they appreciate something like that. And I'm disabled, and I can't force the dogs to do anything. I have to treat them gentle, just like I was a horse trainer. I trained
Wow.
horses, and then I was also a hairstylist, so I'm really good at scissors.
Ooh, so you get it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
for you, honey. Okay. Well, listen, you're wondering about Bean's feet, and I would suggest that you treat Bean's feet as any of my golden retriever videos.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Because you just want a
That's
nice
okay.
contoured foot. You don't need to shave the top. What we do with the top of that fluff is you'll want a slicker brush and you gently slicker brush those tufts up. And then you
Hmm.
just scissor the shape right along the shape of the foot real
Okay.
carefully. And you're just tying it together is all you're doing. It just looks like a natural foot, like he didn't grow that hair. That's what it looks like. And then I have
Right.
many videos with paw pads. So if you're not sure, there's many videos there to help you with that. In fact, any of the golden retriever videos, or I have a really good one about de-shedding, and it's with a Bernese mountain dog. So that foot,
I've watched it.
yep,
I watched your Golden Retriever one. I've watched the Bernese Mountain Dog. I
yeah,
watched
with
the Cavalier Spaniel one. I've
yes. Okay, good.
watched how, but I
That's
don't
how
want
you
to
do
do
the
the
feet.
shaving.
Yeah.
So I have way more questions, but there's other people waiting to ask
Well,
questions.
okay,
So I'm
Chris,
gonna.
then how about we move on and then you can ask another question in a little bit.
Sounds good to me.
Thank
I don't
you.
want to
Hey, do you only
dominate it.
have do
So
you only have the one husky and Bean? Is that
no, I have two
two huskies?
two huskies. The other one is much bigger. He's like 100 pounds.
Okay. It's a lot of work if you're taking it all on yourself. So, oh, honey.
Oh, they have good coats. I mean, I can put a comb right through them right now. They have really good coats.
Good. That's
They're easy.
awesome. Okay. Well, good. All right. Well, I'm going to open up to anybody else. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
sorry guys. I'm really sorry.
you don't need to be sorry. This is why we're here. It takes as long as it takes. So,
Right?
Cynthia, do you have your
I do. And Amy, thank you. I apologize for not being on video. I didn't, this is my first Zoom with you.
well, hey, you're here.
And I promise next time. But I desperately need your help and loved your channel.
Oh.
I am an owner of a Bichon Bolognese. She's a rare breed, kind of like a cousin to the Maltese. She's
Okay.
my second. She's actually the grandniece of my first dog I had that uh, we got probably a month after my 17-year-old fellow, was, you know, put down.
17-year-old dog.
Yeah, that was my first one. And then I
That's impressive.
I know, contacted her and got, turned out her grandniece of my old dog was born that time. So my first dog had wonderful relationships with the groomers. Now this one, and it's, I guess, like you have a couple of children and they're completely different personalities.
Hmm.
Breed is just such a gentle companion dog, so easy. And this dog, Daisy, I don't know if in the airplane on the way, I'm in Jersey, she's the breeders on the other side of the country, don't know
Oh,
if something happened to her on the plane or if she just has perhaps something neurological, but I cannot find a groomer that will groom her. She's so aggressive. I don't know if they dropped her on the plane or something happened to her.
that wouldn't have anything to do with grooming unless she has an
No, not the
injury.
grooming part. Like if something happened, like
Something happened. Well, how was she when you got her off the plane?
she was good, but we saw signs kind of, just a difference between my other dog. And so now I have an appointment with the vet. They said in the beginning they didn't think anything was wrong, but she is just so aggressive. I can't find a groomer to groom her. And now she's become matted. And I
Mm.
am, I don't want to say I'm fearful, I'm determined that I'm going to take care of her. And she's suffering because she's matted
Hmm.
and I can't find help for her. Uh,
Okay.
So I'm at a place I'm beginner right here, ready to do what it takes to help her. So I was looking at all your supplies and getting a little overwhelmed, like clipper, the shears and all that. And can everybody do it? Like,
And everybody groom a dog?
yeah, like, is it something, she's extremely aggressive. And I watched one of your videos of dealing with the aggressive dog and the matting, and
Which makes it worse.
you just went into a lot of good detail. And I thought, if I can learn from anyone, I think you could, be the person.
Yeah, sure. Well, listen, a couple questions, Cynthia. So how long have you had this particular dog?
She's just shy of a year, and I got her groomed in the beginning, but now I've been supplementing, but it's just to a point now that I need to either learn how to do it so that it's at a really good level, or ask
And
my vet if
consistent.
they'll help me by doing something.
So she was groomed one time professionally.
Probably twice.
How did it go each time? The first time, how did it go?
It went okay. Second time, no, the groomer refused.
Different groomer?
No, same place I always go. I go to uh, a local place near
But
me.
was it the same groomer?
No, two different ones.
Okay. And it didn't go well the second time.
No, no.
Was she matted? Even a little bit?
No, not really. It's just that, and I understand she's even, like, to put it in perspective, like, she stays with me at night, she sleeps with me, but then if I take her and, let's say, walk in and put her on my son's bed, she immediately starts growling at me. I just
She
have
doesn't want you to tell her what to do.
Yeah, she's pretty strong-willed, but even with like somebody coming to the door, she turns into my other dog. I never heard growl, not once her whole life. This
Yeah,
one
no, this
starts
is a different
growling,
dog.
and I have no experience. I haven't been a lifelong dog owner, just
Okay,
one breed.
well, from one thing I'm hearing, your first dog was probably a lot like my big Gus. Everybody thinks my big Gus, you guys have just done such a wonderful job. He's the best dog. Everybody that meets him wants a dog just like Gus. But I gotta tell you guys, it's him. Yes, we do work with him. We train him as a puppy, but he just picked everything up, and he was the easiest dog in the world. And he still is. Then they're not all like that. So you
No,
got lucky with your first one. Your first one was like that. Just wants to please you, wants to please you. They're not all like that. So now we have one that maybe is a little more of a domineering personality by genetics, just is. So I will tell you, first of all, very, very important to work with her on training and every day. And it doesn't have to be like you have to go to a specific room or you have teaching a dog place. And there's some really good dog trainers on YouTube that you could watch. One is Saro, Saro, dog training. He has oodles and oodles of videos. And I love the way I love his teachings. I love his methods. There's another one, Beckman's, but he just kind of shows you troubled dogs, but maybe that's something you could see something that resembles your dog in those videos too, and how to teach them to let
have you
you
heard of
you lead. You have to
there's
be the leader.
have you heard of, and I haven't taken her there, but I've contacted them, but it's sit means sit or something, but they do use a collar, I think, that has, it's not electricity, but
Prongs.
no, it's like they say it's like a buzz on a phone.
Oh, it would be
They,
a vibration collar.
yeah, and they have a program where
Hmm.
it's
I
pretty.
would start with Sorrow. Honestly, Sorrow doesn't like to add anything into training that can cause aggravation to a dog. And, a shock collar can cause aggravation to a dog. Yeah, you can teach a dog to not do things with a shock collar and the right training methods together. But some dogs will become very highly agitated by that shock collar. So,
I think
Sorrow's methods are not with,
I think she actually has a neurological issue,
she
but
might.
I don't want to just run to medication.
No,
Needs
try
that, that's
training.
what I would do, but I don't, that's not my number one choice.
I think training should be your number one choice. Training, and you can learn it from a channel like Sorrows for free and learn the methods that you're going to follow, the things that you want to teach her to do. Basically, when you open a door, you don't want her running out. You want her to look at you like, can I go? It's just training, and they don't know until we teach them. They don't know. Then you're not allowed to run out their door until I say you can. Oh, somebody came to the door and you went ballistic. Oh, no, 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 we don't behave that way. You sit there. I'm going to the door. I'm in charge. You have to teach them. Maybe she needs to learn what her place is in the household. You said she growls when you pick her up.
Yeah,
Take her.
I've been
Hey,
working
don't.
with her some. She is definitely the alpha and passive
Uh-huh.
aggressive type dog.
She needs
Definitely is.
training.
She does.
Training could probably help her, and that's going to follow into grooming too. Getting her to respect she's not in charge.
Right.
And
But
it's not a beat down thing. It's an
I don't
aha
want
moment for
I
a
don't want her
dog.
to get hurt when I'm trying to groom her either.
No, you
I
don't. And you can easily hurt a dog. Remember the Schnauzer video, Henry. That was my biggest concern, was hurting him because of his behavior. That not that I would hurt him, that he would move and he would get cut. That was my biggest concern. You
and
can't have a dog behaving like that for grooming. It's not safe.
they have the trachea issue. It's a small breed. So
Yeah. There's other ways to harness a dog without a trait.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah.
So,
So
what would you suggest? Like, I do want to get her, groom. Like, I want to get her dematted. When you were just saying how it gets closer to the skin and causes them pain, oh my gosh, I was like, I wanted to cry. I,
yeah.
you think, and besides the fact that she's a beautiful dog that just is looking really not.
Okay. Well, I want to tell you, I'm going to be completely honest with you, Cynthia, what I would do if I were in your position, knowing knowing what you're up against with her, personality wise, first of all, and now we know we have a matted dog, which is a very difficult groom. And I do not really want you to do that. So now you say, okay, what do I do? The groomers don't want to work with my dog. This is what I think you should do. I think if you want to groom her, you can work towards that, but not in this matted state. I don't want you to do that. You're going to ruin it for you and her. It is a very hard to do groom a
I was
matted dog.
originally gonna I was ordering a portable stand-up tub to start bathing her more often and get her comfortable. But then I heard you say you don't want to be bathing a matted dog.
No, you have to get the mats. You have to. She
Yeah,
needs a shave
so
down. She needs a shave down. And if you don't feel that there's any groomers that can work with her safely, for their sake and for her, the one option for this groom is to either your vet may offer it or find one that does. There are vets that can do sedated grooms. And I know you don't want that. They will put her slightly under for this so that she doesn't take away anything from it. She won't remember this horrible matted groom. And it's
for
not
her
horrible.
safety too.
Hmm?
I agree. I think it's for her safety too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't aware if they did that. I was thinking
There
this
are vets that
thing
do.
needs something. I think my vet may. I
If your
know
vet
the other
doesn't, talk
dog.
to him, talk to your vet and say, this is what I need, help me find it. You know all these other vets, help me find a vet that will take care of this for her now. And then at that point, Cynthia, you work with her every day to desensitize her to table time. You never let her go more than 6 weeks without a full haircut ever again. And you do, and once you get this off of her and get her back to a good condition where she's not got to entail a matted grooming session, she doesn't want to entail grooming at all anyway. That's not when we want her to learn about grooming, is a matted grooming session. Now, we don't want her to learn anything. We don't want her to have any takeaways from that one because it's not going to be good. And she already has an idea of what she feels about grooming. So after you get it taken care of, then it's time to kick it in heavily on your part. If you are going to groom her, you have to keep her in good shape. You have to bathe her every 2 to 3 weeks. You have to brush her weekly. But you're going to teach her table time, teach her to trust the process. I had a couple live streams that talk about, my dog hates grooming. Listen to that advice and follow it with her. But what I see, like Henry, the schnauzer that's up on my channel, that terrible video, I hate that video, but I had to share it. Henry never gets groomed, once a year, and he's severely matted. His only never been a chance for him to be desensitized to grooming. Never been a chance. And when he finally gets to a groomer, because he's in such a bad way, he's very matted, which is not a fun groom for Henry, and it's not a fun groom for the groomer. Now, we are experienced, so we can do it. But if the dog is not accepting of grooming, it's nearly impossible, for a matted dog. It would be helpful to have somebody, 2 people helping Henry through that situation. It's not a good position to put a dog in that is rarely groomed, that doesn't even have a good idea of grooming and how they feel about it. It's not a good idea to put them in a situation where they have to endure a matted groom. So
I-
after you get her taken care of, you get her sedated, have her shaved down, shave it off. We tell them, with a 7 blade, not a 10. And start over with her and start and change her mind about grooming. It's going to be work for you, but you have to decide, are you going to be the groomer? If you are, you have to start day one right after that. Start with table time, some brushing, just pick up the feet, touch the paw pads. You don't have to have tools yet. The next day, do more of that. Have her sit, have her stand, praise her, train her on the table. Then you'll have a brush. Maybe you'll have it in your hand, but you don't touch her with the brush yet. But it's in her vicinity. She's learning to trust these tools. It's a big process to desensitize
She
dog that's
trusts me.
afraid.
I have been working with her during
Okay,
the year.
that's a
and
good thing.
She does trust me, except near her head.
Yeah,
And
that may take
you
some
know,
time.
and so I'm totally committed. I think it's a great experience if it goes right between the dog and the owner. And her breed is tiny, curly hair, like a poodle almost.
Okay.
So it's important.
Yeah. It's gonna mat easily is what you're saying. She has to, grooming's a part of her life, so we have to teach her to accept it and to trust the process.
So I saw your whole set of things to get. So like on your site. So just go there and like the clippers and the
You
slicker.
mean my Amazon store?
Yeah.
Well, that has everything in it. You don't need everything. What I would get for her, I'll have a video on my channel that I think it says 6 items you need to groom any dog.
I think I saw that.
That's what you need. A comb, a brush, a clipper, maybe guard combs if you're leaving length. In her case, you could never get a guard comb through her, but you're not doing the matted groom, remember?
Right. What about the harness? That's a big thing for me not to have. All of these have the collar type.
All you do, okay, get the groomer's helper, the one I talked about, which is a grooming loop. It just has a clip, like a collar. You can unclip it there. And it is adjustable, but it has the D-ring in the front. You're going to need that with her. You're going to sometimes need to cross tie her to the grooming arm. So here's what you do. If you're afraid of putting it over her throat area, you simply pull one arm through it.
Oh, I saw that where it crisscrosses in front, right?
Yeah.
Yes. That
And
was,
then you can adjust it, and she's totally safe that way.
and
And
that's
you can still use that D-ring as to keep her cross-tied, the second hitch there on the grooming arm. And then you might need that with her at times, maybe for feet, for the head. If she's rearing her head, see, she can't, if she's cross-tied down, she can't rear up. And she's probably going to need that second hitch to the grooming arm just to keep her from being able to rear up. You will never be able to trim her head if she's able to do that. And then take it slow. I mean, teach her about, desensitizing, hold the clipper, take the blade off, just have it on,
yeah,
and
she's
touching her.
good with that. I've actually been able to use a clipper on her.
Okay. So it's not terrible. You guys aren't, you're starting at a good spot, but right now, if she's in a pretty matted condition, I don't think that you should do that because I think an experienced groomer is the only person that should be really grooming a matted dog. And secondly, you're going to struggle with it, and you don't want it to be a fight with her, and you don't want to teach her that that's your first experience, and she's
And I
gonna
like what you
put
said,
that memory there.
the sedation, where it stops her memory of having a bad
She won't remember, yeah, so she won't have a bad idea at this point, but she'll get those mats off, and now she's in a manageable state. Now you can handle the grooming. if you start, and keep up with it right away. Never put it off so much that she gets mad and just
Right.
it's going to be a big commitment, but you can get there, you can do it. It'll get to the point where she's very workable with you. It will, but it's going to take several sessions.
And if it's neurological, it's not her fault. Like I have a responsibility. I birthed her, so to speak, and she's my animal. She's my dog.
She's your
And
dog,
so
right? We don't give up on them. I get
right.
it. I get
So
it.
thank you for what you do. I really appreciate
No.
that I found you and that you're here. And I'm looking forward to bringing good success stories.
Oh, me too, Cynthia. I want to hear. I can't wait to hear this turns out well for you, but it's going to be a little bit of road to get there. But you're dedicated, so you'll get there.
She's worth it.
She is worth it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Cynthia.
All right.
Rasa, who's going to talk to me?
Me.
Hi, how are
I'm
you?
excited to talk to you. I'm feeling
Good.
a little bit sick today, but actually this morning I met with the manager of a pet shop not far from me who has a grooming space with equipment but no groomer. And so I finished a certification course about a month ago and
I
haven't had.
remembered you were learning.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
had such a great time. It was amazing. Yeah. I feel like I still have a lot to learn. I mean, I only had a month of this hands-on course and it was intensive. I feel like I learned a lot, but I still feel like I don't know anything. So,
You do. You just
yeah,
haven't experienced it all yet.
I think it looks like I'm gonna have a job at this place, which is great, but I think it'll be tricky because they don't have another groomer there, which means like I'm on my own, there's nobody to
Yeah.
ask questions, and like I feel like I'm okay equipped to do it, but I don't know. The one thing I did want to ask you about though, they said that they have a lot of people there asking for nail trims on cats. And I wondered if you had any experience with grooming cats or any advice about that.
The only cats that I have experienced grooming were my own. There were two of them that I groomed. Neither one of them are living anymore.
Mm.
I kind of like Cynthia, we were just talking about establishing a good relationship with your animal. I established a great relationship with my cats and trust, and I didn't have much problems working with them, and I could clip the nails. Livy, one of my cats, was a little bit hesitant, and often I would just have my husband hold her in his arms, and I'd stand behind him and tip her feet back and trim her nails, and it was fine. So I was able to do it very well. With cats, you need to stick your finger in
Mm.
there so that
Yeah,
they,
because they have those sheaths.
yes,
Yeah.
and then they
Yeah,
come
I've had
out.
cats and I like cats, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about how to safely handle a cat, if it's wiggly, if you can like use the same kind of restraints as
Well,
for
this is what
like,
I
I
want
mean,
to
I
tell
don't think
you.
you could put a belly band on a cat. I think it would wiggle out of it.
Very difficult.
Mm.
This is what I suggest to you, Rasa. I made the decision for myself as a groomer. I
Mm.
will not groom anybody's cats but my own.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it requires a little bit of different specific training for cats. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I am a pet groomer, but I'm sorry I don't groom cats. It's not my area of expertise. And you
Mhm.
have to stick to your guns or you're going to get in a bad situation and people
Yeah,
get
for
hurt
sure.
bad. One cat bite can just infect your hand
Mhm.
so bad you won't be able to move it for a week. Cats are not as trusting in a new situation like that
Mhm.
as dogs are. And if
Yeah.
you want to groom cats, I'd say get specialized training in that area.
Yeah, I've looked at a couple of online courses and I thought I'd maybe tell the people like I'm willing to try after I do a course and I
Yeah.
need you to provide some safety equipment like those like anti-bite gloves or
Yeah.
that they have that bubble you can put over the cat's head so it doesn't
It's
bite
a
you.
shame.
Like, I
It's a
don't know.
shame it has to be that way, but cats are a different animal. And yes, it has to be that way. And I guess if you work with a cat multiple times, maybe you realize, oh my gosh, this cat loves grooming. And
Yeah.
there are cats that do, but you don't know that out of the gate until
Yeah.
establish a relationship and
I
a
I
working.
feel like this place that I visited, like it's primarily a pet store, and I mean they have a grooming space in the back. They said they had a groomer before, but they haven't had one for a while. And I mean they've been using their grooming room as a storage space, and it seemed to
Yeah.
me like they didn't really know anything
They
about pet
probably don't.
grooming. Yeah, like when I was trying to ask them about, what kind of animals they work with or what kind of like haircuts or services they're offering, and yeah, they couldn't really give me much information. So I feel like it's nice in that I'll have maybe a lot of flexibility to set the tone, but
That's what
also
I'm thinking.
unfortunate because I'm just starting out and I would like to find somewhere that's like an established salon where I can watch people working and learn more from how they do things. But at least, I tried to like temper their expectations. Like I'm a beginner. I've done this course, but I'm just starting out. I can't work very fast yet. I don't want to take a lot of dogs in a day. And they seem to be okay with that. So I feel like it's a good
That's the
opportunity
advice
to
I was
learn.
just going to give you. You're on top of it. I was going to tell you, make sure you are the one who makes your schedule,
Hmm.
because I get that's what you're comfortable doing, and you're going to get calls from breeds that may intimidate you as far as the haircut goes, and
Hmm.
just simply be honest with the clients. Say, wow, I am really not experienced yet. I'm gaining on, say, consider me an apprentice. I'm
Hmm.
learning.
Yeah.
I
The
haven't
place
experienced that
also,
breed.
I don't think they charge very much or have a very complicated pricing structure. Like the guy that was working there told me that he thought that like just a nail trim was $10 and that like a bath and nail trim or like a complete groom was like 75 or something, which to me seems like not very much for Montreal. But I mean, it was kind of like it's in a pet store. It wasn't like a fancy salon.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
I think that if you're going to work there, and I think it's a great opportunity, and you may not be there for years and years, but you're going to be there for a while and gain some great experience. That's good.
Mm.
But I think if you're going to be the one working it sounds like they already, as far as filling that position, they just want somebody who can run the grooming salon, and it's up to you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that you should, you're a smart girl. I can hear everything you're saying, and you have everything it takes to be successful here. So do a little bit of homework as far as where you should set your prices. And
Mm.
part of where you should set your prices is, are they taking a portion of your grooming income
Mm.
to be there?
The manager offered me two choices. Like they seem really flexible, and he said either that we can work out like a monthly rent rate to rent the space, and I'll be an independent contractor with my own business,
And
or
your own tools?
yeah, well, they have like nice tables, electric tables. They have a bathing setup and force dryers. I need to bring my own like clippers and scissors, but I actually have all that. I have a lot of stuff.
Sure,
Um,
from
but
class.
yeah, he said so that was one option is that I can like pay a monthly rate and basically use the space to run my own business out of. The other option is that I can become an employee and I'll have an hourly wage. And I told them that I would probably rather start with the latter because I don't have a clientele established already. And he said they get like usually he said every single day they get people asking about grooming
Requests, yeah.
services. Yeah. So he said for sure there's like hundreds of potential clients
The
there.
work is there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the work is there, but I don't know if it's a place that in the past was charging, $10 for nail clipping, for example, and I would rather start at like 20 or 25. I
Yeah.
mean, because you still have to, handle the dog and deal with everything, like
Right. And
I don't
costs
know.
go up anyway. I
Because
mean,
yeah, and if they're taking a cut of that. I mean, I imagine if they're paying me a wage, maybe they'll pay me 18 or $20 an hour or something. I can't imagine them paying a high wage there. But I
well,
thought just to get experience, maybe it's a start.
yeah, I think I liked the idea. Typically, in my brain, I feel like groomers should be subcontracted, but there's a
Mm,
lot of downfalls with that. I like the idea with you as a beginner to be on as an employee because
Mhm.
for one, I mean, liabilities.
Yes.
You're not
Yeah, I don't like
liable.
I'm not insured,
They,
and
no, they have to cover you.
yeah. Hmm.
If you get hurt, they pay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe that would be a safer way to start. You can always sit down at the round table again at any point. Once they see
Mm-hmm.
the value that you're adding to their business after you've established
Mm-hmm.
clientele and they're loving you, people are happy with your work, that they're going to value you as a valued employee at that point. So
Mm-hmm.
you can always go back to the round table at another date.
Yeah.
But starting it out safe like that as an employee,
Mm.
and then you are getting a decent wage, you are going to walk away with a paycheck at the end of the day. I
Mhm.
would say all tips are yours, though.
Yeah, they did mention that there are tips. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
all tips are
yeah.
yours. You're doing the work.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think
Well,
it's a
thanks
great
for your yeah,
opportunity.
thanks for your input. I appreciate your feedback. I feel like it's a good
Sure.
opportunity too, but I just sort of like it caught me off guard because it came up very suddenly that like I reached out to this person a couple of days ago, and they said yesterday like, "Oh, come in if you're interested, come in tomorrow at 10 a.m."
They need
So
someone.
they're
That's why.
desperate. That's the thing. They're desperate. And so I'm pretty sure that I have a job one way or another and that I can set the tone of a lot of it. But
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
sure
what
how
I,
much tone I can set if I'm an employee. But also, they seem like they don't really know much about grooming or how it
they're
should work.
relying on you.
So
They don't.
yeah, so I feel like I need to really sit down and think about what's fair for rates and the time that I would take and the amount of clients I would want to have and all those things.
Yes. And what I love to hear coming from you right now is I can hear that, you are there to give it all you got. You're going to do the best you can. You want to take the experience. The more experience, the better you get. But what I hear you saying and hear in your voice is I realize the value that I'm bringing. And I'm so glad to hear you not be, oh, they're giving me opportunity. I'm going to do anything they need.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, never, because they'll take
Yeah.
advantage.
I'm
And
I'm in my 40s. I've already had a career. I don't
yeah,
want to go work
you know
somewhere
how
in
it
a minimum
goes.
wage job. Like, I mean, I'm trying to make a step up in my life,
Yeah,
you know?
good. I love
Yeah.
it. I love everything I'm hearing, and you've got a great head on your shoulders. I think
Mhm.
you really can make something of this.
Yeah. Oh, I also had one more thing I wanted to say, which was just related to what you were saying before in your lesson plan about having, working through the steps in that sheet and getting it laminated. That one thing that they did that was really nice in the school I was at was they had a laminated sheet like that had the sections, and in each section they had things to check off, like so that like because it was laminated, you can write on it with a dry erase
Yeah,
marker.
and wipe it off.
Yeah, and they had a place at the top for like the dog's name and the owner's name and what time they came in and if they had a leash or treats or anything brought in with them so that you could know whose collar was whose,
Yep,
and
that's
all of that. And that we could just clip that like to the front of the kennels or clip it to the grooming table, and that way we could keep straight which dog was which, what kind of services they asked for that animal, what kind of, if they specified
that's
a
great.
particular blade or whatever, and you can just write it with a dry erase marker on the
Yeah,
sheet.
you can just
Um,
use these sleeves that come in our
mm,
these plastic sleeves that come in our, for our 3-ring binders.
yeah,
And write on it, have a piece of paper in there so that, you can see what you're writing. And um,
yeah. I
that's a
found
good
it good, even,
idea.
like it was really broken down into steps too. Like, okay, when you're trimming the face, trim the corners of the eyes inside, then the corners of the eyes outside, then the sides of the face, that, and it was all, and that way you could kind of tick it off and go, okay, I did that,
Oh,
I did that, I did that. And I found that
good.
really useful.
That is great. And I'm glad that you mentioned it. You know, our other hounds, their ears are perking up right now. So, I mean, that's a good suggestion. And eventually these things become mindless for you, but not for a while, not until you gain a lot of different experiences.
Hmm.
It's just repetition. And you have to do it a lot and a lot and often, and then
Hmm.
it becomes second nature. So it takes a while till that does, as a beginner, become second nature. So
Hmm.
anything like that is a great thing to do. I really like that. I'm glad you shared it. That'll help other people too. Good idea. Well, I'm happy for you, honey. I can't wait to hear more.
Thank you
Next
so
time we
much.
talk, hopefully you can join us. I can't wait to hear how things are going and hope you share it with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's a good job to land. That's a good gig.
It is. It's a good gig. Yeah. I feel like the place is not the nicest place, but
Make the best of it.
I feel like too, like if the bar is low, then I can
Really
succeed
excel.
easily. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna do great.
Mm.
Good. Jean, talk to me. Oh, I know.
There I am.
There you
Hi.
are. Hi.
I'm so bummed. I was sitting in church just at the end, and on the way home, I'm like, oh, I forgot the broadcast. So I came in late just when you were going through. I think it was with Cynthia and the dog. And
Oh,
man,
yeah.
I could sit and get advice
Well,
all
I
day
don't
long
want
about
you to
difficult
leave
dogs.
church early to come
I don't,
see me. That
I
that
don't know.
that wouldn't
It's
make me
okay.
sleep well at night.
No, no, it's fine. I just forgot on the ride home, but
It's okay. You know this is recorded.
yeah. Yeah, so I need to go back and watch. But I admire, like Cynthia talking about her dog and how difficult, and I get
Mhm.
it. Not that my own dog is difficult, not that he loves grooming, but he's never been aggressive. But I've dealt with aggressive dogs, and most of the time I have to turn them away, but then they get mad at in that whole situation, and
It
I don't even know if I
repeats.
told you, I actually have a Bernedoodle. Maybe I did tell you this. That the first time groom, and brought her in, and the owner, she was already long, she looked like a stuffed animal, she's adorable, and I love when the owners, I want her long because they're so cute.
Yeah,
And like, I can guarantee there's matting in there.
sure.
And so she looked fine on the outside of the coat, really curly haired, and I started brushing, and I was finding some, but I'm like, it's not horrible. 45 minutes later, I'm realizing it's right close to the skin, the matted stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no way I'm going to brush through this. So I told the owner, I'm like, I have to do a shave down.
Mm-hmm.
And most dogs love that. I'm releasing them from their prison, and they're okay with it. But I
Yeah.
think because I had brushed so long prior, um, I should have just done it from the get-go, and she would have none of it. And it was the first time I had to call the owner and tell her I can't finish. And she looked like she was half shaven. So it was that. It
Yeah.
was hard for me because I don't ever not finish a dog or whatever, but the dog was in distress so much.
Yes.
I don't like getting them to that level. It's not healthy, and not safe. And so what I did was, and I always think, well, what would Amy do? What would Amy do? And so what I did was I suggested that she take her to a place that there's two people to finish the groom, because it's just me. So there's nobody there to distract her or hold her, just to get it done.
To help.
And
Yeah.
then in like a month, when I had time starting in January, I'm gonna take her once a week, and I'm
Oh,
gonna do just like a puppy groom, and just treat her like that, and try and get her used to this, so that, because I think she's a really nice dog.
well,
I just think,
when I'm listening to you, my head right away is that time you had to get in there and shave her down was probably the first time a clipper has been in her coat. Okay, because you're saying she's long and she's mad underneath. She's never been clipped before.
I don't
That's
think
why
so.
she behaved that way. She
Oh, that
didn't
makes sense.
understand the clipper.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
honestly, I just think she didn't understand clipping
yeah. What the
and
heck was going
exposed to that.
on?
And now she's
Right,
in a bad way. And
right.
so what you're saying is, hey, let's commit, you and the owner, let's commit, let's teach her about grooming the right way. And if the owner's on board with that, you're on the right track right there. You're going to teach her to trust the process with you, doses at a time, and you'll get her there quick. She's a Bernedoodle. She'll come around.
That's what I'm thinking. She was
Yeah,
really nice to begin with. So,
yeah,
okay, so that's good. I thought, okay, I'm just do a
yeah,
puppy groom, because I love that plan of yours, that puppy groom plan. It has
yeah.
worked. I've done it. Another question. I just recently groomed a Eskimo Smoyed cross. So super
Very
thick
thick.
polar
Yeah.
bear coat. Sweetest dog in the world. Older. He apparently, right after, like 2 or 3 days after I groomed him, she said he came up with some bacterial infection like on his head and down his spine. And so she was asking about the shampoo I use and whatnot. And I told her, I said, well, I use the undercoat control
Mhm.
by, yeah. And
Well,
I
that's
know it's very
basic.
gentle and I rinse thoroughly. But I'm curious and I want to get your thoughts too. Could it have be that he wasn't dried completely? Because that's a tricky coat. And I mean, I thought I dried, but I think you've said in the past, if you don't dry completely, there could be problems.
It could leave a breeding ground in there. And that's a Samoyed and an American Eskimo.
Yeah,
Two of the densest coats ever.
it is like a polar
Yeah.
bear. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So and I had a Samoyed I worked with all the time named Cosmo, and that was always my challenge was over drying Cosmo because yeah,
Okay.
he did have about 4 inches of coat, and then his
Mhm.
undercoat was about 2 inches and so dense, so thick. And so it took so long to dry him, but I think you might be onto something with that. I think you're right. And it's no, no real oversight on your part. It's hard to get them completely dry, especially in their head. You're not, you know, I,
Right.
I would have my stand dryer on his head and be force drying the body. That's what I would do with the big ones like that. Now,
Okay.
can still be like, I don't like that air in my face. Well, okay. So it's not completely getting dry, and it could have been. It could have been that.
Okay. 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 Because the shampoo, that's pretty gentle shampoo, right? I mean, the
Your
undercoat control
shampoo's
one.
not going to cause a bacterial infection.
Okay.
Was he
Good to know.
diagnosed with bacterial infection, skin infection?
Well, she
Or
did
she
say that
just,
she went to the vet, that he was scabbing over, but I just think I would bet anything it was because that area also is for me the hardest to dry because my arm is way up high. I don't have a
yeah,
adjustable table yet, and so I
yeah.
just wonder if
So that
that's
kind
what
of
it
makes
was.
sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Anyway.
unlikely though that, I mean,
Well, because
I don't want to
the
I don't
skin
want
would
to
have had
scare
been
everybody.
broken.
I don't want to scare everybody into thinking that if they don't completely dry their dogs, they're going to have a skin infection.
Right.
That's not typical.
Right. So I just wonder if something else happened and it was coincidence or
You'll never know.
because the skin would have to be broken in order for a bacteria, right, to get into there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I use the a slicker brush, but I'm try to be gentle enough with them, but
If yeah, and it's so hard to see the skin on that coat. If let's
yeah.
just say if you did, you know what brush burn looks like, the little just the
Yes.
skin turns red, and little red dots.
Okay.
I mean, let's say there was a little bit of brush burn and maybe he went home and was at it. Now we could have
Oh.
a situation turning the other.
Okay.
And
That
that
makes
could be
sense.
how it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes
But
sense. That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
I don't think you're ever truly gonna know, but dissecting the ideas and trying to say, hey, I'm just trying to prevent, future
More.
anything like this. So, talking
Right.
about it's a good thing.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I'm glad she brought it up with me because I never want to think like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't ever want to be like that to my clients
Yeah.
because I can always learn more and I can always make it better or
And,
improve, what I'm doing. But I
it's
did
an experience you'll learn from. Because you'll be like,
absolutely.
huh,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that could do that. I
Well,
didn't
and
know that a little
right,
bit of brush burn can cause a dog to go home and rub it in the dirt or rub on the couch
something.
if it's itching and burning. And now they've got couch fibers and bacteria and stuff in that they rubbed it raw a little bit. Now
Yeah,
you got a skin problem.
right.
That could easily turn. And that's how sometimes that's why I only do a 10 blade here, even in the corner of the eyes. I've had little dogs that, 15 blade was too sensitive for them. And it would get red right away. And I put some Skin Works or triple antibiotic cream or something that on, I would see it turning red and warn the client, hey, look, please keep a close eye on this. Add more Neosporin if you need to. If you get him out of the water past a day, he'll be okay. But if he goes home and rubs that, it can become raw instantly. And
Okay.
that has happened to me as a groomer.
Okay.
Or they're like, gosh, he's home 2 hours. And and it's practically
Done.
bleeding now, is what they're saying. And it's like, well, that makes
Yeah,
sense. It was itching,
yeah.
it was burning, and he was rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, and that's what happened.
They just flared up. Right. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. I had another thought for, was it Rosa, the young lady that was just talking about getting
Yeah.
the job with the cats, right? She was one had experience with cats.
Right.
I love cats. But I have groomed 2 other cats that were not mine. And I was a little scared at first because you never know. But both instances, they had to it was a sad deal. Like
They were
between
mad.
divorces and the cat was being neglected and
Oh,
full in a smoky apartment. It was just a sad situation that I was
yeah.
able to help out, get them to a better place. And so what I did was I use a little tub that I put them in. So the less spraying water, because it's the sound that they don't like, the
Yeah, they
better.
don't.
I did get the bubble thing, the plastic bubble thing that she was talking about. There's air holes so they can breathe,
Mhm.
but I never had to use them. These cats had been groomed since kittens, and that makes the biggest difference if they
Yeah.
have been groomed as kittens. But when you do, I had to do shave downs on both. You have to tighten the skin, and
Yes, the skin is thin.
it's
You're
so
right.
thin. But they, thankfully they were very cooperative, and it worked fine. But getting some a little extra training on just because they are very different than dogs. They're
Yeah.
not the same at all. And
Different
um,
anatomy.
yep, yep. But if
Mhm.
they've been
That's
groomed
Dean, I
since kittens,
appreciate
makes the
that.
biggest difference. Yeah. So good luck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
good. Well, thanks for sharing that, Jean, because I know
Yeah.
Ross's ears perked up.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, let's
I
talk about
appreciate
that.
it.
I figured because you probably don't. I have cats. I don't groom them. They're short hair, so I don't have
Yeah,
to. But the
And
long
they
hair ones,
groom
you
I've
need
had
to.
cats. I've never groomed
Yeah.
Usually they
No.
groom
my
themselves
cat.
very well.
Yes.
I
You don't
tried
need
to
to.
give I had a couple of kittens with fleas once, and I tried to give them a flea bath. It was a bloodbath.
It was like,
Their
Yes.
little razor kitten claws were
yeah, they
terrible.
Oh,
weren't
so it's
having it.
hard. And the other thing is before you even start a cat groom, you get rid of their weapons first. So I trim their
Right.
Do the
claws
nails
first.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that
good.
helps.
That's good advice,
Hmm.
Thanks. Yeah.
especially for cat grooms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. So I've had my
good
share of cat
advice.
scratches for my own. So anyway, thanks, Amy, for asking me. It was good to see you. I hope you had a Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
I did. I hope you did too. And thank you
did.
for sharing all these awesome talking points here with all of us because they really beneficial, definitely.
Thanks. Well, you've helped me so much. And I always think like, oh, what would Amy do in my tough
Oh,
situation? So I go back and
sometimes I
find a
will go
video.
in the corner and beat my head on the wall, just so you know.
Okay. So that
Sometimes
can
I
be
will do that.
that'll be one of my options from now on.
Ah,
Okay.
oh,
Ah, that's
thank you,
funny.
honey.
Thank you. Bye. Have a happy new year.
You too.
Mhm.
Yvette Ryder, what is there anything I
Hi.
can help anybody with? Hi, Ryder.
I was going to tell you have some questions in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
You
Gosh,
sure
you are
did.
the best moderator ever. You really are. I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm live, where in my Facebook group, you always help everybody. I saw something about shampoo. Okay. I did see it. Okay, question, shampoo question. This is from Cassandra. Do you have any thoughts on any good medicated shampoos? Sasha is a German Shepherd dog, is older and is getting itchier. Vet offers Benadryl, etc. But I'm thinking that it might help by switching the shampoo. I know Petals and Tails is your favorite. Any other thoughts? Petals and Tails is great because of CBD oil and all the ingredients are wonderful. For German Shepherd, it can get a little pricey to use the Petals and Tails. One thing I want to say, Cassandra, is always condition afterwards. That shampooing without conditioning can really leave the skin dry and itchy. So if we're only shampooing, that could be the problem. Dry and itchy. We're not, if you don't follow it up with a conditioner, you're going to 9 times out of 10, you're going to get dry and itchy. And that's what your shepherd is suffering from right now, it sounds. There are some great shampoos and conditioners. I really do like the Nature Specialty Sun Guard conditioner. They have wonderful shampoos too that are hydrating. I would pick a hydrating shampoo. So something that's moisture based, it's supposed to add moisture back in because we know moisture is lacking. As far as medicated goes, a lot of the medicated stuff is rather drying, believe it or not, because it's supposed to dry up skin problems. So, unless there's a medicated vet shampoo that your vet is suggesting, then I would just choose a hydrating shampoo such as the One Step Silky, which is a Bark to Basics. It's very affordable, dilutable. Always read your labels, dilute appropriately. I believe One Step Silky is 16:1, 16 parts water, 1 part shampoo. That's a great hydrating shampoo. And conditioner wise, you want a hydrating conditioner. So another shampoo I want to tell you is the Tropiclean Puppy Hypoallergenic is a great option. I will use Tropiclean Hypoallergenic Puppy Shampoo on any dog that's sensitive, and it cleans beautifully. So that might be a great option for your dog, is to take all the dyes, all the perfumes, all that out, and just a nice gentle cleansing shampoo, which would be the Tropiclean Hypoallergenic Puppy Shampoo. That's a good one. Anybody can use that. Any of you. You can use it as a groomer as your standard shampoo because you've got it covered. It has no dyes, no perfumes, no soaps, but it cleans well, and that's important. Hydrating conditioner. You want to, the iGroom has a lot of great hydrating conditioners. For a shepherd, you might enjoy their probiotic conditioner. I think that would be good for your shepherd. Even the squalane would be okay. It's very hydrating. I don't think I would go for like a Bark to Basics de-shedding shampoo and conditioner. I think that could leave it a little dry. If she's already a little dry, it's great for de-shedding though, but because it doesn't add all that moisture and it lets us shed out the coat easily. But I think I would stick with the suggestions that I gave you, Cassandra, and I think you'll get on the right track. So hopefully you do. Right now I'm using Tropiclean Pure Plum and SunGuard. Okay, both of those are great. Be sure to dilute them as recommended. Both of those products are dilutable. So just be sure to dilute. It could be just something, an allergy that your shepherd is suffering from. And if it is allergy, oftentimes anything topical is just not going to correct it. So that would be, internally with the vet to fix what's internally going on. But it sounds like you're working in close coordination with your vet. So that's good. You're right on track. So I hope that's helped you, Cassandra. That was a great question. Thank you. Donna says, my toy poodle had some of his fluffy puppy hair and some dense curly. He's 1.5 years old. Okay, so you're saying he's transitioning from puppy to adult coat, and that takes a little while. Now he's 1.5 years old. It feels like I have to do a lot of scissor work because he is uneven after going over him with the clipper 3 times. Is this normal? Okay, when will he have normal poodle hair? Some poodles, especially the toy breeds, and this is a toy, I've seen it often with the toys more than with a mini. They will never get a very thick coat. And I guess it just has to do with breeding. But I have seen so many toy poodles in my grooming salon that had more of a doodle coat, just a tiny bit of wave to it, which totally isn't poodly. It's not typical poodle. And that could just be at 1.5, I'd say, Donna, that 1.5, pretty sure that you can assume that most of that is adult coat by this time. So one thing that I will tell you, if you're having trouble smoothing it, is to be sure to straighten out the coat as best you can in the drying process. Get the coat as straight as possible because it has a little bit of hang, a little bit of wave to it. And that means that when you're using guard combs, that sometimes the guard comb just pushes the hair down instead of pulls it into the clipping blade. So try to straighten that hair out as much as possible. Comb up like this before you use your guard comb. So if you have to go to different times, comb the hair up and then go over it again. It sounds like the hair is just limp, a little bit of lightweight, and the guard comb is just, instead of pulling it in to the clipper blade, it's riding over top and flattening it out. And I've had that. Drop coats are that way. They can be challenging. If you are using guard combs, here's a tip for you with a toy poodle. With at least a 1/4 of an inch length or more, you can clip in reverse gently. Don't push hard in the reverse direction, but you can avoid damaging the hair follicle if you're gently lifting and clipping in that direction. You can do it with a guard comb because it's totally clearing the hair follicle. It's not damaging it. So that might help you too, but that's only with a length of a 1/4 of an inch guard comb or higher. So 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 of an inch, nothing lower than 1/4 of an inch. Not a number 4 blade. I wouldn't even clip in reverse with a number 4 blade. I feel like it'll damage the follicle. So hopefully that helps. I think I got all the questions. Does anybody else? Yvette, did you have anything you wanted to talk about? Oops,
Okay.
I'll try. You
Okay.
get it? There you go. You got it.
Because on visual, you were I think you were training a pet owner how to clip their Maltese. You would do one side and the owner would do the other side. And it was a part 1. Is there a part 2?
Good question, Yvette.
It was a mini schnauzer. It wasn't a Maltese.
Oh, that was a members only video, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, she came to me for a private lesson. We spent one day together.
Okay.
So she was actually also in the Paragon School of Pet Grooming. She was in the middle of learning. She was a student. And she came with her little schnauzer. Remember that? He was cute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cute. And that's how we taught that day. That's how we worked. That was our training. I said, I'm going to do some, you're going to do some, I'm going to do some, and you match what I do. And that's all we did. And then she went home. So that was the only one.
Okay, that was great.
I know,
I
that
was
would be
looking for
helpful,
part 2.
right?
It was very helpful.
Maybe I should do more of that. I've been doing a little bit of that with my mom and her schnauzers.
I
I
would
have a
love
couple videos teaching mom how to use a clipper on her schnauzers.
it. Okay.
But then again, it's a schnauzer. Not everybody cares about the schnauzer trim.
I do.
would
I
be-
have a schnauzer.
Oh, you have a schnauzer. You're like, I
Yes.
care. I care. me. Yeah. Well, I don't, and they're not just member videos. They're just public videos on my channel, Yvette. Teaching mom how to put blades and guard cones on her clipper. Another video was, mom showing us her home setup that she has to groom, which many of you are grooming at home. You have a home setup,
Yeah.
which is different than mine down in the salon, So that was that. And then the next video was, can she do it? I think the thumbnail was. And I had her clipping on the body and down the pattern set. We didn't go for the head yet, which she's still not ready. Her confidence isn't there. And I said, well, I'm not letting you do it. You'll mess Ellie's face up. I'm not letting it happen. Takes forever to grow that hair back. But no, so I had done that with my mom a little bit too, but I could see where those videos would be beneficial. Maybe it's hard for me to get my hands on somebody who has no experience or very little, like I have other groomers I can work with, but they already know what they're doing. Maybe Sean's learning, but she's, still perfecting her skills. Sean that has all the schnauzers from SVCC Toy Schnauzers. She's always willing to do anything I ask her. She's great. She's only an hour from me. I do have a video that it's in the queue to be finished with Sean trimming one of her schnauzers. That goes back to the first time I went to visit her and help and did some videos. where her and I are both grooming the same dog. Like I say, wait a minute, she's struggling. And I'm like, okay, no more like this. And I take the clippers and show her. Now that video is not done yet. So that will be something that is, it's started. I just kind of gave up on it. I'll go back and finish it.
Okay.
But yeah, good question. Did you have anything else?
No, I'm doing pretty good with my snails.
Good.
Whenever I groom them, and I groom them every 6 weeks, but I bathe them every 3 weeks.
Oh, you're perfect.
But I'm still
His
not,
coat's always in good shape, isn't it?
well, I comb them every day.
Well, then he is. And with
Yeah.
that mid-bath and condition, I'm sure that helps you keep him brushed out and combed out easier too.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Good for you. You're doing good.
I'm
Yvette.
having a problem with his legs.
What's the
I'm not,
matter?
they just don't look right to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you leaving? Do you use a guard comb to set the length, or are you just hand scissoring the legs?
I tried both. That's
What are you most comfortable with?
the guard comb.
Okay, to set the length and then
Yeah.
comb everything up. And if anything is out of sorts, then you use your scissor, almost like you're outlining. When we scissor, we hold our arm and our wrist still so that it's literally like you're drawing the shape on his leg with your scissor. Some people feel like when they scissor, they got to go like this, and you're not scissoring anything. I'm not saying you are doing that, but
Probably, I think
it'll
I
mess up
am.
your scissor work. Try to hold a straight line as if you were drawing the shape of his leg with the pen. Try to hold the straight line like that. If you can think of it that way, it might help you. I know it's getting used to using scissors is a challenge in itself anyway, and that takes time.
Yeah.
Like controlling the shear. Just be sure you're holding it right. And I have different videos on that, Yvette, that might be helpful. Remind yourself, put the shear in your hand, make sure you're holding it right. Because if it's not balanced right in your hand, it's setting you up to be too heavy, and it'll affect your scissor work.
Okay.
So just practice making sure that you are holding it properly. And I have videos on that.
Mhm.
And just remind yourself of what you're doing and why you're doing it, and then keep practicing, keep perfecting. Do they look terrible, or they just don't look like you want them to look?
He doesn't look like I want him to look. He doesn't look terrible, and I get a lot of compliments, but I'm not satisfied.
Okay, well, I love your perfectionist bone in you. There's nothing wrong with that. But you do see that he does look decent. He looks good. So
Yeah, he does.
you're
Yeah.
getting
It's a
there.
lot of compliments, but I'm still not satisfied.
Well, I like that. I'm the same way.
Mhm.
I want to do what I want to do.
Mhm.
Look at my hands won't work.
Mhm.
You'll get there.
I'm sure.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the care you're providing. I'm just listening to everything, your routine, daily brushing, every 3 weeks, a bath and conditioning, every 6 weeks, groom. That dog has got it made. He couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, he's spoiled.
He loves you, I'm sure.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. And that makes it worth it too.
Mhm.
Well, guys, I think, is this another question here at Rasa? At school, I had to learn to groom your own dog program. The pet parent brings in their dog for a day, pays 200, and basically just helps with every step of the grooming process. They said that usually it makes for more loyal clients because they realize how much work. Oh, that's interesting. I was just reading what Rasa put in the chat. That's interesting, saying the pet parents have to be there and kind of witness the um, grooming session for the student, realizing what goes into a groom. Yeah, I think now, thank God for social media and YouTube and stuff. It has brought a lot of awareness to pet grooming and what dogs endure during a grooming session, and how it sets me up in a position to be able to remind pet owners, hey, your dog didn't come pre-programmed to be okay with grooming. you know, we as groomers sometimes are the only people that touch them with a brush or a clipper or anything. That there are many clients I have that don't touch a brush with their dog until it comes back to me. So it's all on me. And I am glad to be able to have my YouTube channel and even on Instagram and my Facebook to be able to send these messages out that, hey, don't forget, this is an animal. You know, he doesn't speak my language. He has to learn this process in his animal ability, you know, and digestion. So awareness has come a long way with pet grooming, and there's still people out there that I read some comments on my YouTube channel, and I can't even believe I let this stuff make me mad, but it does. You know, it's very insulting to me that, you know, I hurt the dog. I did this. How dare you do this? And I'm like, I take it very personally. You know, I care about the dog's safety very, very much. And obviously, this is somebody who just lands on a video, leaves a nasty comment, and off they go. They never come back. But I block them from my channel. It makes me feel better. You can never see any of my videos ever again. But you know, we take it seriously but I'm fortunate that in this day and age we have a lot more awareness surrounding pet grooming and what it means to the dog, and what the pet parents need to do in between. People are rising up. Pet parents are rising up. They really are taking much better care of their pets between grooms. They're relying on advice from their groomers. So it didn't used to be like that. And I've groomed for 22 years, almost 22 years. You know, it didn't used to be like that. They didn't want to hear anything you had to say or try to help. They didn't want to know. That's your job. You're the groomer. Yeah, but you only come every 8 weeks, you know? And anyway, it's a good day and age we live in for pets and for groomers. Let's just call it that. I'm very happy to have you guys with me today. I love you, Hounds. I'm proud of you. I'm excited to hear all the things that each and every one of you is experiencing in the wonderful world of pet grooming. I like to hear that. And I will see you next month. Your invitation will be in the PDF for the Zoom session. And when this is done uploading and everything, I will post it on the community tab if you want to watch it later. And obviously for those who couldn't join us, all you hounds that couldn't join us, it's okay. I love you very much. So that's why we record it, so we can watch it whenever we want. So I will see you all next year. Have a great New Year's. And here's to us for next year. It's going to be a good one. And I'll see you in a month here, but I'll also see you on my YouTube channel live in 2 weeks. I think I am. And I'm working on a great head trim video if I could just get it done. I was telling my husband that he's been working from home the last week. And I said, I can't have you working from home anymore because I got to do my voiceover and you're over there making noise. So anyway, I'm working on a good one for you guys. So that'll be out hopefully this week. Whenever it gets done, it'll be out. So, all right. Thank you guys. I'll see you in January. Love you. Proud of you. Bye.